Replayability, the metric used to gauge how much people are going to want to replay a game, and how worthwhile that is. Replay value can be very subjective. A game may have certain aspects that would lend itself to multiple playthroughs, but that's not really going to matter if you didn't actually enjoy playing the game. Mega Man 9 is an easy example of this for me. Like previous ROCKMAN games, you can select any of the main 8 stages in any order you want. This alone adds a decent bit of replay value. And then you also get fun and unique weapons for beating each stage, further adding replay value. The problem? Okay, cool. This level design fucking sucks. I got so tired of this game so quickly. The game feels like they wanted to make Mega Man 2 again, but remembered that everyone thinks Mega Man 2 is too easy because everyone's already beaten it at least once. Every stage is filled to the brim with instant kill traps that you just kind of have to know are coming to avoid. I wouldn't really have as much of an issue with this if it were a bit more like Super Meat Boy or Celeste, where the entire point is that you're going to keep throwing yourself at these short segments until you finally get it right. But ROCKMAN 9 is not built like those games, it's built like an NES Mega Man game. Ignoring the chance of finding extra lives, you get 3 tries to beat a stage, including the boss at the end. I understand there's a decent chunk of people who really enjoy the type of game that stabs you in the dick, roundhouse kicks your head, knocking you into a vat of acid, and then says, "Try the whole thing again, bitch," every time you fuck up. I'm not one of those people. Yeah, I could've just used this, but what if I don't have the weapon? It shouldn't— Why is it respawn?! What? I do not like this game, and any replay value it has is lost on me. Anyway, yeah, replay value. I find the games that have the most replay value for me are the ones that are short but sweet. A game that maybe it'll take you a little while to finish on your first playthrough, but has a lot of mechanical depth and different routes or upgrades to find. A game that may seem simple on the surface, but will allow you to discover dozens of new tricks that you can utilize even at the start of your next playthrough. A game, or games, like the Mega Man Zero series. I absolutely love these games. I've beaten each one at least like 10 times, and that's a very lowball estimate. Gameplay, story, music, graphics, it's pretty much all great to me. And it's the main inspiration for a game I've been making since mid-2019, Virtua Blade. Now, one of the things I had to come to terms with early on in the project is that having several different weapons for the player to use is a whole lot of work and something that I'm better off doing in a future project. So, exclusively using a beam sword it is. But here's my issue. This game is going to be very short. Only 8 stages, with the final stage being just the final boss. Like the Zero games, I have a ranking system to grade your performance on each stage, but unlike the Zero games, this alone was originally planned to be the only thing to incentivize repeat playthroughs outside of just enjoying the game enough to want to anyway. If you've beaten any of the Zero games, hell, just any of the Mega Man games, you'd know that 8 stages is really short. Mega Man 1 had 10 stages, 2 had 13, 3 through 6 had 16, the X games usually had around 13 stages, and the Zero games each had around 16. In the time it took to write this script, I could have easily beaten all 3 of the SNES Mega Man X games. Even if I make the stages in my game 3 to 5 minutes long, this game is going to feel very short. On one hand, this makes repeat playthroughs a lot easier to swallow, since even at a low skill level, you'd likely be able to finish it within an hour and a half with little issue. On the other hand, this is going to leave a lot of people, hell, maybe even most people, wanting a lot more. I'd rather leave people wanting more than leave people wishing it was over already, but clearly there might be an issue. The previous moveset planned for Virtua Blade was going to be pretty bare bones, all things considered. You have a 3/ground combo, a running slash, a dashing slash, an aerial slash, a charge slash, and a special shield slash. There'd be 3 other special moves to learn as the game progressed, the downstab, rising slash, and rolling slash. On paper, this might not sound so bad. It seems like it could be a healthy variety of attacks. However, the issue starts to rear its ugly head when you consider boss fights. I've taken basically the exact same approach as Mega Man 03 for boss invulnerability. Each attack the player can do has a hit priority assigned to it. When you hit a boss with any attack, they'll become invincible for a short period. Hitting the boss again, but with an attack that has a higher priority than the previous one, will ignore the boss's invincibility and reset the timer. In 03, this allows you to do a whole bunch of different combos against bosses. A lot of them can be extremely risky, but when you pull them off, god damn does it feel satisfying. Here's what makes 03's combat different from Virtua Blade though. 03 has the triple slash, running slash, dash slash, aerial slash, and charge slash, just like I do in my game, but also 4 saber-specific EX skills, 2 alternate third slashes, the rolling slash, uncharged buster shot, half-charged buster shot, fully charged buster shot, 4 buster-specific EX skills, the recoil rod, 2 EX skills for that, shield boomerang, and 2 final EX skills for that. So 03 has a metric fuck ton of moves to use, as well as a ton of different combos you can potentially pull off with them, as I've already shown. This is basically the only combo of Virtual Blade. So with that, there's a very good chance that the combat will feel a bit stale against bosses. I don't want this to happen, so what can I do? Well, an obvious solution would be to just add a bunch more moves, which is sort of the route I'm going to be taking, but I think we can get a little more interesting than just adding more toys to play with. Mega Man 2 added a bit of an underwhelming mechanic called forms. Forms were obtained by clearing a mission while fulfilling specific criteria. Kill 20 enemies with the air slash, reflect 30 shots with the shield boomerang, pull 30 things with the chain rod, kill 50 enemies with the buster? What the f- Most stages don't even have 50 enemies placed. You'd have to keep killing the same group of enemies over and over. Okay, so getting these forms was not amazingly done. It doesn't help that if 2 criteria were met within one mission, you'd only get 1 form and then just have to hope it was the one you wanted. The forms themselves are interesting though. These listed stats are a goddamn lie most of the time, but each one offered different effects. The energy form made health drops more common. The X form made your buster much more powerful while limiting your saber to just 1 slash. Defense form doubled your defense while also making your attacks weak as hell. Erase form made your saber and shield outright erase small projectiles on contact. The proto form drastically increased your attack power while also limiting your moveset and making you take double damage. And active form increased your movement speed while also giving you access to the rolling slashes. Now, I haven't listed every form, but these are the most interesting to look at, I think. Now, I could make a whole video on why these forms in general weren't very well executed, but what I want to focus on is implementing a similar kind of system into my own game, Virtual Blade. My general outline for this system, which I'll be calling styles, is as follows. Each style should be distinct enough from the default and other styles to be interesting. Each style should have at least a slightly different moveset than the default. New attacks will need to be implemented for this to work. Each style should be earned by playing in a way that would accentuate the playstyle it lends itself the most to. Styles will be selected upon file creation and locked throughout the playthrough. New Game Plus files will be able to change styles at any time, however. The descriptions of each style should make it clear what they actually do, unlike Mega Man 2. And finally, each style should be fun to use. I guess that kinda goes without saying. So, first order of business is to completely replace the current attack system in the game. I made this attack system back in mid to late 2019, and it really fucking shows. I was still very much a newbie to programming, game design, and the Godot engine at that point, and this isn't even as bad as it actually was. Previously I had a separate hitbox object for each frame of each slash, and I managed them all, not programmatically, but by specifically referencing each one individually. This was how I was managing hitboxes before. It was really bad. Like, this is... You think this is bad? Like, this alone? It gets worse. I did this for every slash. When does it end? Yeah, that got tiresome well before even half the moveset was added. I eventually replaced that system by a single collision polygon that just morphs itself to fit what's needed. This system is all self-contained, so I can even use it for other entities in the game. I could probably make a whole separate video on the making of that system, so leave a comment if that's something you want to see. As for the issues still present, the code is clunky, it can be difficult to figure out where to go to tweak or fix something, and most of all, it's not very flexible in the slightest. So, over the weekend I took it upon myself to almost completely replace that old system. I started off by creating a new autoload script that houses all the necessary data regarding each attack and what it should do. I have an enumerator to easily keep track of which attack is assigned to what number. Attack parameters are stored in dictionary variables created at runtime using this register attack function. Since the script is an autoload singleton, I can easily reference it within the player script with little issue. The execute attack function sets all the relevant variables onto the player in preparation for the attack. Any of these can be changed on the fly in the player script, which will be necessary for a few attacks. In the player script itself, I have a whole set of variables telling the game which move should be performed for each action. I have no idea if I'll use all of these, but it doesn't hurt to be prepared. When the player is initialized, as well as when the player obtains an upgrade, the update max stats function is called. which previously just assigned things like max health, but now also determines what moves are available depending on which style is active. After a weekend of toiling over code and trying to fix little issues in a small section, I've now got a mostly working system. In the end, it looks almost exactly the same in-game as the other one, with a couple bugs I still need to iron out. However, now I can much more quickly add new attacks to the game without pulling my hair out. I've already got a couple things in regarding styles too. Ultimate style gets this stupid long ground combo that ends with a charge slash as a finisher, and yes, this whole combo will work against a boss, but now it's time to actually implement styles. I've already got a variable in place for them, but no way to actually select which one you want. Not even in my dev menu. The first thing I wanted to do was give an actual indication of what style the player is using on the file select screen. These scrawny ass panels aren't going to cut it though. So I opened up Sprite to create a mock-up of the panel that's just 10 pixels wider. And wow, do those 10 pixels make a world of difference. Of course, I also went ahead and made icons for each style, which will probably be changed a little at some point, but not right now. So next up is to have a way for me to actually change what style I'm using in-game. For now, I'm just placing an option in the dev menu, but of course there will be a menu for selecting your style when creating a new file, as well as in the pause menu during New Game Plus. And boom. But there's an issue. You can't actually tell what style you're using just by looking at the screen. Now, there's a couple of ways I could go about doing this. Option 1 would be to make the player use a different color palette for each style. This is definitely doable. I already have a system in place for changing the colors of the pants, shirt, skin, hair, and sword individually. However, my original plan for that was to just have the alternate clothing and sword colors to be unlockables, that you could just choose any time. I don't want to go back on that, and if I don't, then we'd potentially be back at square one. So instead we're going to be taking option 2, add an indicator to the HUD. I've made so many fucking revisions to this HUD. So the idea of doing it again is a bit off-putting to me, but I think it'll be the right choice. I could go for either using the style icon or a small text displaying the name of the style. However, the style icons are 32 by 32 pixels, and I already struggled to make them look decent at that size, so text it is, for now at least. Okay, now that we got that squared away, let's fully implement the style that's going to take the least amount of work, Alpha Style. This style will be very similar to Protoform in Mega Man 02, which itself is very similar to the hard modes of the Zero series. In fact, hard mode in 02 literally is just you being locked into Protoform and being unable to equip any upgrades or EX skills. You'll be locked to just a single grounded slash, a running slash, a dash slash, an air slash, and the shield slash. You'll also take 25% more damage and be completely unable to benefit from upgrades and the additional special moves you can learn later in the game. To at least slightly compensate for these shortcomings, you'll also deal 25% more damage, have doubled special meter regen, and the shield slash will only cost half a special meter segment instead of a full segment. So let's get to work. What little that needs to be done anyway. While making the new attack system, I actually already put a lot of the groundwork for this style in place. Only thing that really needs to be done now is disabling upgrades and the attack and defense multipliers. And done. So there we go, a whole new playstyle is available. For those curious, this one will be unlocked by finishing hard mode without collecting any upgrades. It's a style based around limiting yourself, so I feel it fits. Obviously, there's a lot more that needs to be done, not only for the styles, but also for the rest of the game. That can be saved for future videos though. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, I really appreciate it. I have been planning this series for a long time. It's taken me a while. Kind of didn't have really the motivation to do it, but now we're here, finally. I'm going to be doing more of these for sure. I'm also going to be doing some live streams of the development process on my Twitch page. You can find that in the description. You can check my Twitter, sometimes I post updates there, as well as my streams. Also got a Discord server for my stuff. You can find that in the description as well. Also actually got 2 games on itch.io already. Again, you can find them in the description. One of them's a Panel de Pon style puzzle game. It's basically just a clone of it. Made that so I could figure out how to actually make that kind of thing, because I wanted to learn. And then there's also a sort of tech demo style thing I made for a game jam. It's like Sonic Adventure, but it's a collectathon. It's only got 1 stage because I had to make it in 5 days. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And tune in next time. See y'all then.